Hey guys, welcome back to another To Aussie Thrifters video. We have had a crazy busy week sorting out all the stock for Stockbox and just generally trying to catch up after the long weekend for Easter. So we haven't actually gone out much this week sourcing it all, but I thought today we would do a bit of a bowler list. We're going to share with you over 30 items that we've sold for over $100 in the last 90 days. We're going to start at the low end of $100 and work our way all the way up to about $500. So I'm going to get myself situated over at the computer there and I'm going to share those sales with you. All right, let's get into this what sold video. So as I said, I've got about 30 items here that you guys can be on the lookout for when you're op shopping, thrifting, garage sailing, estate sailing, whatever you want to do. These are great items to look out for. I'm going to share with you stuff that has sold for over $100 on our store in the last 90 days. First up, we sold this women's commonery jacket. It was a linen blend and it was new, which definitely helped it out. That one ended up selling for $100. We did pick that one up at op shop for only $5, so that was an absolute bargain on commonery. We've done quite well with some commonery stuff lately, so definitely keep your eye out for that one in the op shop. All right, you guys know that Pokemon is hot right now. I had a couple of these ETBs left over from my days of running the card shop on the internet site, which I've now closed down as things are way too hectic to be running that. We ended up selling this one for $114.76 after a coupon was applied to that. So I think initially these booster boxes were going for about $80, so they have gone up in value a little bit. Here is an absolute bargain that we picked up. It was this Scanland Theodore jumpsuit. We picked this one up in a bulk lot and we paid $3 per item on this one. We ended up selling this one for $105 plus postage. Definitely keep your eye out for Scanland Theodore. You'll probably see a couple more of these in the video coming up because it's been a great brand for us lately. Here's a cool new one. We only just picked this one up recently, this Melbourne Storm NRL 2007 jersey. This sold for $110. We actually picked this up for an op shop like 2 weeks ago for $5, so that was an absolute bargain. I didn't think this one would quite go for quite that much money, but being 2007 kind of in their heyday, I think it definitely helped that one out. Sticking with some sports, we sold this vintage Geelong Cat zip-up bomber jacket. We paid $10 for this one at an op shop and we ended up selling it for $129.95. So definitely keep your eye out for those older AFL items, jerseys, jackets, hats even do quite well, but stoked to get that one out there for that price. Spell and Gypsy Utopia dress. Now Spell and Gypsy is a very high-end brand. We picked this up in one of our bail lots that we get here and there and it ended up selling for $115. So I had COG on that one down as $5. So $5 into $115 on Spell and Gypsy, I take that every day. Something different here, Sony Walkman. It was in its original box, which definitely helped the price on this. I love finding Sony Walkmans, whether it's a tape decks or these, and this one ended up selling for $150 on an offer. It did take a little bit of time because it wasn't the most desirable of the Sony Walkmans, but definitely happy to find a Sony Walkman box, and we only had to pay $30 for that one, so good return on that. Here's one of our garage sale pickups. You might remember us a little while ago buying out the rest of a garage sale. Our average cost of goods on those were only $2 each, and this one ended up selling for $125. It was a Supernatural Join the Hunt Dean Winchester minifigure, brand new in the box, which definitely helped that one out as well. You guys know that we love R.M. Williams, and if you can find anything R.M. Williams that has like another collectability on top of that, it's definitely going to sell for some great money. And this was a pair of vintage R.M. Williams women's Sydney 2000 moleskins, brand new with tags. I found these in an op shop. I think it was Savers for like $18.49. A few months back, I did list them very high because there was just no comps, and we ended up taking an offer of $110.46 on this item. I love finding R.M. Williams, and if you can find any crossover pieces like this, you're going to do pretty well. Here's a little bit of a story for you guys. So last year, I actually went over to Thailand with Kiddo. We actually did a little bit of a chat with this on his channel not too long ago, so I'll link that in the description for you guys as well. But while I was over there, I found this pair of Castelli cycling top and bottom in a set. I paid $15 and then had to get them shipped back here as well. So it ended up costing me about $24, and I ended up selling these for $100 and shipped them back over to the United States for $24. So I'm pretty happy to be selling Castelli. It is a great cycling brand, and if you can find a set like this, you're generally going to do quite well. I loved selling Nike shoes, and this was a pair of Nike Air Vapor Maxes that ended up selling for $149.95 plus postage. I paid $30 for these at a local pick. I grabbed a whole bunch of Nike shoes from someone else that actually does the same thing we do, but they operate differently. So we're able to come to deal on these, and I ended up selling them for $149.95, like I said. So some really good margin on some of those Nike shoes. You want to be looking for like TNs, Vapor Maxes, anything with that kind of Esche vibe usually does very well. Here's an interesting one, Alpine by Jedsons. I have spoken about this brand once or twice before, but this one here sold for $145. It's just a nice wool blend jacket, quite thick and heavy, and it kind of had that tartany kind of pattern and plaid, I guess you could call it. And I did pick that up at a deceased estate for $10. So absolutely stoked to get 145 bucks out of that one. Another garage sale item here, we picked these up for $2 each, as I said before, as an average. It was this Harley Quinn red and white and black barbs tar DC collectible, and it ended up selling for $135. Love finding collectible stuff. Harley Quinn in certain styles can sell for some great money. You guys would have heard us talk about nudie jeans plenty of times on this channel before, but these ones here sold for over $100, $110 plus international post. And the reason for that was these were selvage. So that's a specific type of denim that you want to be keeping your eye out for. I'll put a little picture up here for you guys showing what that looks like so you can keep an eye out for it, because that definitely improves the quality and the sale price of nudie jeans. Selvage across most styles of jeans is going to get you better money. You definitely want to be keeping your eye out for those old selvage Levi's. Other brands that do selvage as well include your Diesels, and even some other brands out there that do selvage are quite desirable, like Avisu, for example. Okay, sticking with the Sydney 2000 theme that we talked about earlier, there's actually a couple things in this grouping that are from Sydney 2000 Olympics. This was a Sydney 2000 Olympics Mambo shirt. Now, it wasn't a Mambo Loud, but this ended up selling for $179.95. You guys might remember we picked up quite a lot of this Mambo stuff from an athlete not too long ago, and we have sold a few pieces of that, which you'll see coming up as well. $179.95 on that. You've got that crossover, like I said before. This one was Mambo in Sydney Olympics, but again, very happy to find Sydney Olympic stuff, especially with that Mambo tag. Camilla, we have spoke about Camilla a few times before. We actually picked this one up in a bulk deal, and $13.70 was paid, and this turned into $155. These were a pair of pants. They were called the Abyss. Very bright rhinestones all over them, and definitely a brand you want to be keeping an eye out for. Camilla has some crazy priced items out there, especially if you can find those crazy dresses. Here's an interesting one, a vintage Holden Team mobile jacket. Now, some of the older stuff is worth quite a bit of money, and as you can see with this one here, it ended up selling for $150 plus post. If you can find that older stuff, it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for. Even some of the newer stuff does sell for some decent money, but if you're really looking for those higher $100 price items, you definitely want to be looking for the older style Holden stuff, because that's where the money sits. You guys would have seen us do the storage unit just recently. We have sold quite a bit of stuff from there, and there's a couple items in this grouping that we picked up in that storage unit and have sold. So you guys might remember me picking up this Magpie's Prison Bar lace-up Guernsey that I found in that storage unit, and I put cost of goods down as $10, because once we averaged everything out, it turned out to be that. We actually put this one up for bid because I wasn't really sure what it was worth. I couldn't find any comps, so I just thought I'm going to throw it to the market. I think the market will decide where this one will sell for, and it sold for $157.50, and the buyer actually paid straight away, which was fantastic, because with auctions there's always that risk that someone's not going to pay, but very happy to get that one out the door for $157.50. Now, you guys probably have been seeing us sell quite a lot of lingerie recently. We're doing a bit of a commission deal for somebody, and we sold this Honey Birdette Ziggy play suit. This one was new with tags, and it did sell for $167.96. As I've spoken about before, there are some lingerie brands out there that are quite expensive, and there are a couple more coming up in this one as well, so keep an eye out for those. We sold these super fast, these Birkenstock London clogs. You would have seen us in our last video pick these up at a garage sale, and we actually bartered the seller down to 20 bucks, which we probably just should have taken the $30 offer that was already there, because these sold very quickly for $199, brand new in their box. We ended up paying $20, as I said, but absolutely stoked to get those out the door. Birkenstocks is such a good brand. You can find it brand new like this, you're gonna make some money. Another one that we picked up on camera, these vintage Anaider 54-piece stainless steel silver tone cutlery set. In the original box, we ended up selling this for $169, and we paid $15, which is insane. Anaider is a brand that I kind of learned from some of the US sellers, and it's the first time I've seen it in Australia, but definitely keep your eye out for Anaider when you're in an op shop, because if you can find them like this, $169 is probably gonna head your way. Another R.M. Williams item, I'm sorry for talking about it so much, but they just sell so well. It was this vintage leather blazer coat. It kind of had the fringe and all that on it. It sold for $199. Any of that vintage R.M. Williams stuff is great, obviously. Longhorn is another brand you should be keeping an eye out for in the R.M. Williams range, but when we find stuff like this, we just know it's going to be money. Another item from the storage unit, it was this Port Adelaide Football Club 150-year archive collector's edition set. Now, this is the item that I thought might be the jersey box, but ended up being this like book set with like a whole bunch of history from the Port Adelaide Football Club. And this sold within a week for $220 plus postage. So absolutely stoked on that unit because we have now made our money back. I actually sold the golf clubs the other day for 600 bucks. So we're well and truly in the green on that locker. So that was a pretty cool experience. All right, sticking on that Sydney 2000 kind of area, you guys would probably remember Jazz doing her ray gun impression in this one. It is the Sydney 2000 Olympics Australian Nike tracksuit, and it ended up selling for $299, which I'm absolutely stoked with. Again, part of that athlete's lot that we did a bulk deal on. It did take a little bit of time to move, but we did list it quite high because there were no comps for this sort of stuff. So it was just trying to find the market on it, but absolutely stoked to get that out the door. This one here is probably my favorite item of this whole set, and it's because I actually found it at the Savers Milestone opening day for 20 bucks. It is this Scanland Theodore patent and leather biker jacket. It ended up selling for $300 in like a week and a half after us listing it. So as I said before, Scanland Theodore is one to be keeping an eye out for. This one takes me a little bit back to my childhood, this Scale Electrics Digital Super GT set. I used to have one set up in my room. It was pretty cool back in the day. We had this on commission for someone and ended up selling for $245 plus postage. So again, a 50-50 split after fees on that one. It was probably a cool, nice $120 in pocket, somewhere around there. So definitely happy to be picking up those Scale Electrics. Even some of the Scale Electric cars on their own do quite well. As I said before, love selling Nike shoes, and this pair of Nike Dunk SBs again was on commission. There's quite a lot of commission pieces in this lot, which is good because we love selling stuff for other people and getting that money back nice and quickly for them as well. This pair of Nike Dunk SBs, they were the Brute DSs, ended up selling for $250 plus international postage. And they did sit around for a while, but we originally had them listed up quite high to try and get the best price for the client. And obviously these got authenticated through the authentication system as well that eBay have, which is fantastic. So you can always use that as a safety net. We also like to use programs like CheckCheck or Legit App to authenticate our items before putting them up on eBay. But eBay do have a really good process for shoes now as well. So you can go out there and find some pretty nice shoes and make some pretty good money. This was an interesting one. Again, another commission piece that we did for somebody. It was this Ron Reed NASCAR Winston Racing Series suit. Ended up selling for 400 bucks. So that was pretty insane. We had it listed a little bit higher for around the $500 mark, but once we got an offer for 400 on this plus international postage, we definitely were happy to sell that one on. All right, this is one of the cooler pieces that we picked up from the storage unit. It was that Remarkable 2 paper tablet that we showed you guys. It's like a drawing pad, sketching pad. You can even like take notes and send them to yourself. It's pretty interesting. This ended up selling for $475. So I think we quoted on the video around that $400 to $500 mark, and it ended up selling very quickly. I think within 2 days of us listing it for 475 bucks. So stoked with that one. Definitely one I'm going to be keeping an eye out for in the future. All right, we've got a couple more to go, guys. And this one here was actually a free item. We won this on CL Furlong's stream. I think it was his birthday stream. We got this Givenchy authentic black leather bag. Ended up selling for 500 bucks. So stoked with that one. Again, went through the authenticity guarantee of eBay, but we knew that the quality of that was there because we kind of knew the provenance of where it came from. So stoked with that. Thank you so much, Chris, for running that giveaway, and stoked we won it. I think we bought like 10 tickets and we won this and a pair of shoes, I think it was, which have sold as well. So stoked with that, and it all went to a great cause. Is probably the highest item that we sold in the last 90 days. It was this set of Pokemon Celebrations. It was the full set. I actually collected this for myself when I was breaking cards. So I had all 50 of 50, the promos and a few other bits and pieces. Sold for $599. So I just had this sitting in my room, and I was like, I know Pokemon's hot at the moment. I'm not really interested in keeping it. I threw it up, sold within 48 hours of listing, and the buyer was stoked with what they got as well. I think they might have even been an on-seller. So if they can make some money and we can make some money, then absolutely stoked to sell that for $599. All right guys, I'm gonna get back to work. I still have some stuff to sort for Stockbox. We will be doing a little bit of a giveaway with Stockbox very shortly, so keep an eye out for that. I'm gonna be doing a little bit of a golden ticket, so we'll tell you a little bit more about that in the future. Let us know in the comments below what items you've sold for $100 in the last 90 days. Add on to the list, let's keep it going. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time on Aussie Thrifters. Bye for now.